All right, so my name is Jeremy Patches. This is Blake Connell. We're the co-founders of PASIV Duty. We've developed a system for law enforcement firearm monitoring that's focused on safety, accountability, and location tracking. Officer Thomas Cottrell. January 17th, earlier this year, Officer Thomas Cottrell was leaving the municipal building in Danville, Ohio. As he was approaching his police cruiser, he was ambushed by an armed man. Now, Officer Cottrell responded to that situation exactly the way that he had been trained. He drew his firearm from its holster, and he attempted to defend himself. Unfortunately, Officer Cottrell was shot. He became incapacitated. He was unable to utilize his radio to call or signal for help. When we were here in October and originally told Officer Cottrell's story, he was one of 46 officers that have been killed in the line of duty by gunfire this year. Since October, that number's increased to 60. That's a 67% increase year over year. Additionally, numerous incidents involving the police use of force have grabbed the public's attention. Now, the wide use of social media has generated an overwhelming number of requests for additional data and transparency related to these incidents. We feel these are serious issues. We decided to meet with the Lexington Police Department. And after that meeting, we decided to focus our efforts on developing a method to determine whether a firearm was in its holster or not. Because a firearm in a properly designed holster is in an inherently safe condition. We based our design criteria on the National Institute of Justice standards for smart firearms. However, our system requires no modifications to existing firearms. We require no additional training for law enforcement, and there's no additional procedure for them to follow. We've embedded the sensor technology into the holster itself, and we're utilizing a cellular network to back all that data. When a firearm leaves the holster, we're gathering data from multiple global navigation satellite systems, as well as cellular triangulation and other location services to pinpoint the officer's location and relay that information as an alert back to the PASIV Duty dashboard.
Here you can see the PASIV Duty dashboard. Each tile represents an officer. A gray tile is an officer that's off duty or disconnected. The green is an officer on duty. And you can also see we're showing the cell strength and battery level for each holster. Whenever the firearm is removed from a holster, the IR sensor sees this change and then will send cellular triangulation, GPS, and the accelerometer to the dashboard. Whenever that occurs, the tile will move from anywhere on the screen to the top left and flash red. Dispatch will then have to take immediate action. We're also showing the GPS location in the small snippet at the bottom. Whenever the firearm is reholstered, the IR will see this change, go green, and the dashboard will return to green connected. The situation is gone. Our market is currently 1.1 million law enforcement in the United States. We will prioritize manufacturing for the 3 largest gun manufacturers that supply to these agencies. The competition is modifying the firearm itself. We feel this is an unnecessary risk. The body cameras are historical in nature, but it does give us a good gauge for the market and their willingness to adapt new technology. Our revenue model is subscription-based. We feel that the value is in the data and the analytics that we are providing with our dashboard. We will keep our hardware cost as low as possible.
So the PASIV Duty team has decades worth of combined experience, ranging in critical areas such as manufacturing, operations, technology, and law enforcement training. Blake and I have worked on numerous projects together in the past. One of them was a product called Net Reset, which is a consumer electronics product. We brought that to market. We're currently shipping over 4,000 units a month through various sales channels. We've also developed the FogPod, which is a ruggedized computing platform. We originally designed that for the mining industry, but that market dried up. However, we did leverage that product in our first meeting with Lexington Police Department. It was at that meeting that we had the aha moment that we needed to focus on the firearm itself after gathering the feedback and requirements from the assistant chief. It took us 7 days. We produced our first fully functional prototype. That was 145 days ago. We now have version 3 available. It's ready to be deployed in a customer pilot this month. We have the product, we have the team, we're ready to solve these problems, and we're here to answer your questions.
Hey, that was great. 2 things. Protectability again. Is it protectable?
Yeah, we currently have 4 patents filed. We're surrounding the holster. We're separating out the components, and then we're also taking it from just a holster to a whole belt system and protecting that to where we can monitor multiple items on a duty belt. So we're filing as many patents and surrounding it with IP.
Great. Secondly, everything that you talked about, it doesn't change the action of the police officer. It's just embedded, which is great. They don't need training, it's just in there. The back end, though, someone has to change their function to observe that, or is it part of the infrastructure that currently exists?
So typically, most police departments have a central dispatch that has a number of screens that typically have a dispatch system already that's used for logging those calls. So this would be additional dashboard that would be available for that dispatcher to monitor and then take action upon depending on what the policy of that law enforcement agency is.
But no new screen they have to look at?
There would be a new screen that we would dedicate to the passive duty dashboard.
Yeah, okay. Does it turn it off? Did I turn it off? Okay. Hey, so anyway,
Thanks. When you're showing the dashboard and the guns reholstered, the firearms reholstered, and the red goes back to green, what if no one's watching the dashboard when it turns red, then it goes back to green? Is there some management by exception signal that lets them know that it was, unholstered for a period of time?
Yes, so the action of the alarm is sort of like a gate trigger, right? So it will fall open into red and has to be reset by the dispatcher before it will go back to green. Yeah. So there's a positive response that the dispatcher has to take over as it continues to flash.
Any other questions? All right, give it up.
All right.
All right, y'all, I want to remind everybody, make sure you guys are text voting as well as tweeting hashtag 5across at 5across for a chance to win Dad's gift card. Forgot my sheet.